The Jerusalem Bible, Exodus chapter 33. Yahweh then said to Moses, "Leave, move on from here, you and the people whom you have brought here from Egypt, to the country I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that I would give to their descendants. I shall send an angel in front of you, and drive out the Canaanites, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Move on towards a country flowing with milk and honey, but I myself shall not be going with you, or I might annihilate you on the way, for you are an obstinate people." On hearing these stern words, the people went into mourning, and no one wore his ornaments. Yahweh then said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, you are an obstinate people. If I were to go with you even for a moment, I should annihilate you. So now take off your ornaments, and then I shall decide how to deal with you." So from Mount Horeb onwards, the Israelites stopped themselves of their ornaments. Moses used to take the tent and pitch it outside the camp, far away from the camp. He called it the tent of meeting. Anyone who wanted to consult Yahweh would go out to the tent of meeting outside the camp. Whenever Moses went out of the tent, the people would all stand up, and every man would stand at the door of his tent and watch Moses until he went into the tent. And whenever Moses went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and station itself at the entrance of the tent, while Moses spoke with Yahweh. The people could all see the pillar of cloud stationed at the entrance of the tent, and the people would all stand up and bow low, each at the door of his tent. Yahweh would talk to Moses face to face, as a man talks to his friend, and afterwards he would come back to the camp. But the young man, whom was his servant Joshua, son of Nun, never left the inside of the tent. Moses said to Yahweh, "Look, you say to me, 'Make the people move on.' But you have not told me whom you are going to send with me, although you have said, 'I know you by name, and you enjoy my favor.' If indeed I enjoy your favor, please show me your ways, so that I understand you and continue to enjoy your favor. Consider, too, that the nation is your people." Yahweh then said, "I myself shall go with you, and I shall give you rest." To which he said, "If you do not come yourself, do not make us move on from here. For how can it be known that I and my people enjoy your favor, if not by your coming with us? By this we shall be marked out, I and your people, from all the peoples on the face of the earth." Yahweh then said to Moses, "Again I shall do what you have asked, because you enjoy my favor, and because I know you by name." He then said, "Please show me your glory." Yahweh said, "I shall make all my goodness pass before you, and before you I shall pronounce the name Yahweh. And I am gracious to those to whom I am gracious, and I take pity on those on whom I take pity. But my face," he said, "you cannot see, for no human being can see me and survive." Then Yahweh said, "Here is a place near me. You will stand on the rock, and when my glory passes by, I shall put you in a cleft of the rock, and shield you with my hand until I have gone past. Then I shall take my hand away, and you will see my back, but my face will not be seen." The Jerusalem Bible, Exodus chapter 34. Yahweh said to Moses, "Cut 2 tablets of stone like the first ones, and come up to me on the mountain. And I will write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke. Be ready at dawn. At dawn come up Mount Sinai, and wait for me there at the top of the mountain. No one may come up with you. No one may be seen anywhere on the mountain. The flocks and herds may not even graze in front of this mountain." So he cut 2 tablets of stone like the first, and with the 2 tablets of stone in his hands, Moses went up Mount Sinai in the early morning as Yahweh had ordered. And Yahweh descended in a cloud, and stood with him there, and pronounced the name Yahweh. Then Yahweh passed before him and called out, "Yahweh, Yahweh, God of tenderness and compassion, slow to anger, rich in faithful love and constancy. Maintain his faithful love to thousands, forgiving fault, crime, and sin, yet letting nothing go unchecked, and punishing the parents' fault in the children and in the grandchildren to the 3rd and 4th generation." Moses immediately bowed to the ground in worship. Then he said, "If indeed I do enjoy your favor, please, my Lord, come with us, although they are an obstinate people, and forgive our faults and sins, and adopt us as your heritage." Then he said, "Look, I am now making a covenant. I shall work such wonders at the head of your whole people as you have never been worked in any other country or nation. And all the people round you will see what Yahweh can do. For what I shall do through you will be awe-inspiring. Mark, then, what I command you today. I am going to drive out the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites before you. Take care you make no pact with the inhabitants of the country which you are about to enter, or they will prove a snare in your community. You will tear down their altars, smash their cultic stones, and cut down their sacred poles, for you will worship no other God, since Yahweh's name is the jealous one. He is a jealous God. Make no pact with the inhabitants of the country, or when they prostitute themselves to their own gods and sacrifice to them, they will invite you, and you will partake of their sacrifice. And then you will choose wives for your sons from among their daughters, and their daughters, prostituting themselves to their own gods, will induce your sons to prostitute themselves to their gods. You will not cast metal gods for yourself. You will observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread. For 7 days you will eat unleavened bread, as I have commanded you, at the appointed time in the month of Abib. For in the month of Abib you came out of Egypt. All that first issues from the womb belongs to me, every male, every firstborn of flock or herd. But the firstborn donkey you will redeem with an animal from the flock. If you do not redeem it, you must break its neck. All the firstborn of your sons you will redeem, and no one will appear before me empty-handed. For 6 days you will labor, but on the 7th day you will rest. You will stop work even during plowing and harvesting. You will observe the Feast of Weeks, of the first fruits of the wheat harvest, and the Feast of Ingathering at the close of the year. 3 times a year all your menfolk will appear before Lord Yahweh, God of Israel. For I shall dispossess the nations before you, and extend your frontiers, and no one will set his heart on your territory when you go away to appear before Yahweh your God 3 times a year. You will not offer the blood of my sacrificial victim with leavened bread, nor is the victim offered at the feast of Passover to be left until the following day. You will bring the best of the first fruits of your soil to the house of Yahweh your God. You will not boil a kid in its mother's milk. Yahweh then said to Moses, "Put these words in writing, for they are the terms of the covenant which I have made with you and with Israel." He stayed there with Yahweh for 40 days and 40 nights, eating and drinking nothing. And on the tablets he wrote the words of the covenant, the 10 words. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hands, as he was coming down the mountain, Moses did not know that the skin of his face was radiant, because he had been talking to him. And when Aaron and all the Israelites saw Moses, the skin on his face was so radiant that they were afraid to go near him. But Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the leaders of the community rejoined him, and Moses talked to them. After which all the Israelites came closer. And he passed on to them all the orders that Yahweh had given to him on Mount Sinai. Once Moses had finished speaking to them, he put a veil over his face. Whenever Moses went into Yahweh's presence to speak with him, he took the veil off until he came out. And when he came out, he would tell the Israelites what orders he had been given. And the Israelites would see Moses' face radiant. Then Moses would put the veil back over his face until he went in to speak to him next time. The Jerusalem Bible, Numbers 28:16 through 25. The 14th day of the first month is the Passover of Yahweh, and the 15th day of this month is a feast day. For 7 days unleavened bread will be eaten. On the first day there will be a sacred assembly. You will do no heavy work. As a burnt offering you will offer Yahweh 2 young bulls, a ram, and 7 yearling lambs without blemish. The accompanying cereal offering of fine flour mixed with oil will be 3/10 of an ephah for a bull, 2/10 for a ram, and 1/10 for each of the 7 lambs. There will also be a goat as a sacrifice for sin, for performing the rite of expiation for you. You will offer these in addition to the morning burnt offering, which is a perpetual burnt offering. You will do this every day for 7 days. It is a sustenance, food burnt as a smell pleasing to Yahweh, to be offered in addition to the perpetual burnt offering and its accompanying libation. On the 7th day you will hold a sacred assembly. You will do no heavy work. The Jerusalem Bible, Ezekiel 36:37 through 37:14. The Lord Yahweh says this, "As a further mark of favor, I shall let myself be consulted by the house of Israel. I shall increase their numbers like a human flock, like a flock of sacrificial animals, like the flock in Jerusalem on her solemn feast. So your ruined cities will be filled with human flocks, and they will know that I am Yahweh." Chapter 37. The hand of Yahweh was on me. He carried me away by the Spirit of Yahweh, and set me down in the middle of the valley, a valley full of bones. He made me walk up and down all around among them. There were vast quantities of these bones on the floor of the valley, and they were completely dry. He said to me, "Son of man, can these bones live?" I said, "You know, Lord Yahweh." He said, "Prophesy over these bones. Say, dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. The Lord Yahweh says this to these bones, I am now going to make breath into you, and you will live. I shall put sinews on you. I shall make flesh grow on you. I shall cover you with skin and give you breath, and you will live, and you will know that I am Yahweh. I prophesied as I had been ordered. While I was prophesying, there was a noise, a clattering sound. It was the bones coming together, and as I looked, they were covered with sinews. Flesh was growing on them, and skin was covering them, yet there was no breath in them. He said to me, Prophesy to the breath. Prophesy, Son of man. Say to the breath, The Lord Yahweh says this, Come from the four winds, breath, breathe on these dead, so they come to life. I prophesied as I had been ordered, and the breath entered them. They came to life and stood up on their feet, a great and immense army. Then he said, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. They keep saying, Our bones are dry, our hope has gone, we are done for. So prophesy. Say to them, The Lord Yahweh says this, I am now going to open your graves. I shall raise you from your graves, my people, and lead you back to the soil of Israel. And you will know that I am Yahweh, when I open your graves and raise you from your graves, my people, and put my spirit in you, and you revive, and I resettle you on your own soil. Then you will know that I, Yahweh, have spoken and done this, declares the Lord Yahweh. The Jerusalem Bible, Matthew 17:9 through 13. As they came down from the mountain, Jesus gave them this order, Tell no one about this vision until the Son of Man has risen from the dead. And the disciples put this question to him, Why then do the scribes say that Elijah must come first? He replied, Elijah is indeed coming, and he will set everything right again. However, I tell you that Elijah has come already, and they did not recognize him, but treated him as they pleased. And the Son of Man will suffer similarly at their hands. Then the disciples understood that he was speaking of John the Baptist.